They called it the Savage Mountain, because it doesn't forgive mistakes. But this time, it wasn't a mistake, it was something else. On July 22nd, Guan Jing radioed from Camp 4 exhausted, frostbitten, but alive. Minutes later, her signal vanished. No distress call. No trace. Nothing. Up there, above 8,000 meters, the world stops caring about your name. You're just another climber swallowed by the mountain unless someone decides to ask why. But the question isn't how she disappeared, it's what she saw before she did. Because according to those who were with her that night, Guan Jing wasn't alone. And the truth about what really happened up there, is the part K2 climbers don't want you to know. Before we go deeper, a fair warning: once you know what happened on K2, you can't unhear it. So if you're brave enough to keep watching, make sure you're subscribed. Most people click away, but the ones who stay, they never look at mountains or secrets the same way again. They say the higher you climb, the quieter the world becomes. But on K2, silence isn't peace, it's a warning. By the morning of July 24th, the mountain had already started to turn against them. The wind came first, howling down from the summit like an angry god, tearing through tents and ropes. Then came the cold, the kind that doesn't bite, it numbs. It seeps through your gloves, your skin, your bones, until you can't tell if your fingers are still attached to your body. Guan Jing had been moving slower than the rest. Her oxygen was running low, her mask frosting over, her radio faint and broken. But she didn't turn back. None of them did. The mountain was alive that night, whispering through the wind, and those who were up there swore they could hear voices calling from the dark. Maybe it was just the altitude. Maybe not. Above Camp 4, the last safe stop before the summit, everything becomes fragile: time, air, even trust. Climbers depend on each other, but up there, trust can vanish faster than breath. Guan was supposed to be part of a team of 6. By dawn, she was alone. No one knows when they left her behind, or why. Some say she told them she needed a minute to fix her oxygen flow. Others claim she sat down in the snow and said she'd catch up. But no one waited to see if she would. On K2, hesitation means death. And in that thin line between survival and loyalty, most choose survival. Hours passed before her voice broke the static. Visibility low, storm coming, tell base. I can't see them. Those were her last clear words. Base camp tried to respond, but she didn't answer. The storm swallowed her frequency. Somewhere above 8,000 meters, Guan Jing disappeared into a world no one could reach. But the mountain wasn't done. When rescuers traced her last GPS ping, they found something strange. Her tracker had moved, hours after she was last seen alive. No one knows how. Climbers insist trackers sometimes drift, but experts said it was too precise, too deliberate. It was as if someone, or something, had moved her. But there's more. Members of other teams later reported seeing a lone figure high on the bottleneck route, long after Guan was presumed missing. The figure wasn't climbing, it was standing still, motionless, in the storm. When they looked again, it was gone. Some dismissed it as exhaustion hallucination. Others weren't so sure. You see, on K2, when someone vanishes, their story doesn't just end, it begins to rewrite itself. Rumors started spreading through base camp. That Guan's team had reached the summit, but something happened up there. Something they couldn't talk about. That when they came down, their eyes looked empty. Hollow. Like they'd seen something the mountain didn't want them to see. The official report would later call it a tragic accident. But if it was just an accident, why did every member of her team give a different story? Why did they avoid interviews? Why were Guan's photos deleted from the shared expedition drive before the investigation even began? One climber, off record, told a journalist, "You wouldn't understand. Some things are better left on the mountain." Better left. But why? What was so dangerous about her truth that it couldn't be spoken? The more you look into it, the more the timeline cracks. She was alive longer than they admitted. Her radio logs show pings from coordinates her team denied passing. And somewhere between those coordinates, her oxygen tank, marked with her initials, was found placed upright in the snow, like a gravestone. The Sherpas refused to move it. They said it was bad luck. Maybe it was more than luck. Maybe it was guilt. Because people who climb K2 don't talk about what they see when the storms close in. The mountain keeps its secrets, but sometimes, it leaves a whisper behind. And those whispers don't fade. They echo. The storm had already claimed the mountain by the time the world below realized something was wrong. It was July 25, 3:47 a.m., when base camp logged Guan Jing as unresponsive. That word, unresponsive, sounds so sterile, so harmless. But on K2, it's the quiet prelude to a name that will soon turn into a statistic. At first, her teammates insisted she was fine, that she was behind them, that she had turned back. But when the sun came up, there were no footprints behind them. No movement. Just wind. The kind of wind that screams like a person. That morning, the mountain was littered with evidence of haste, abandoned packs, shredded ropes, frozen gloves. Panic leaves traces. One Sherpa radioed down, voice trembling, saying he saw something through the fog. A red jacket moving, slow, deliberate, along the ice face near the bottleneck. Guan's jacket was red. He tried to approach, but when he looked again, she was gone. Climbers call it the vanishing step. It's what happens when someone just stops existing between one blink and the next. 1 second, they're there, the next, the storm erases them like they were never real. What no one wants to admit is this: there was enough daylight that morning to search. But no one did. They said the weather was too dangerous, that she was already lost. But later satellite images would show clear skies for nearly 2 hours. Long enough. Long enough to try. And yet, they didn't. There's something dark about the way climbers talk when one of their own goes missing. They don't say her name. They say, she's gone. Like the mountain took her, and that's that. But people who were there, people who actually heard that final radio crackle, say otherwise. One voice broke through the static, faint but certain. Don't leave me. Just that. Then the sound of wind. Then nothing. They never played that clip publicly. But those who heard it said it didn't sound afraid, it sounded angry. Furious. Like she knew something she wasn't supposed to. Hours later, as her teammates descended, something strange happened. Their radios went dark too. One by one. The signals cut out until base camp was deaf. When they finally made contact again, they refused to answer questions. One climber was crying. Another refused to speak at all. The team leader, when asked about Guan, said this: she's part of the mountain now. Let her rest. But rest from what? By evening, when the rescue operation was finally approved, her GPS was still moving, slowly, erratically, like someone dragging it through the snow. Then, the signal stopped in a place no one had permission to go, a sheer ice wall known for avalanches and hidden crevasses. The rescuers called it off before even reaching halfway. Too dangerous, they said. But later, one drone image surfaced. It showed a figure at the edge of the cliff, small, upright, impossible. No one confirmed what it was. No one wanted to. Oh. In the official report, her last known coordinates were listed as unconfirmed. But leaked documents, ones the public never saw, show a secondary ping 3 hours after her declared time of death. It came from below her original position, near a section known to locals as the Corridor of Echoes. Sherpas avoid it. They say it's cursed, that you can hear voices calling from the ice. Those who have walked through it say the mountain hums there, like it remembers. Her family begged for answers, but the expedition company went silent. Statements were delayed. Photos removed. Posts deleted. They said her camera was lost, swept away by the wind. Yet 2 months later, fragments of her GoPro footage were leaked anonymously online. Just 10 seconds. But enough. In the video, you see Guan, her goggles frosted over, her breathing slow. She turns the camera toward the ridge. And there, through the blinding snow, a shadow moves. Not walking. Just standing. Watching. Then the video cuts to black. No sound. No scream. Just silence. That silence is heavier than anything else in this story. Because it's not just the silence of death, it's the silence of people who know something and refuse to speak. Her teammates returned home quietly. No interviews. No memorial climbs. Some deleted their accounts. Others vanished from public view entirely. When asked by journalists, the company said it was respecting privacy. But the whispers in the climbing world tell a different story. They say Guan saw something up there. Something that shouldn't have been there. Some even claim she caught it on camera, and that's why her footage was erased. The night before her final ascent, she posted a short message on her satellite feed, "The mountain feels wrong tonight." Those were her last written words. What did she mean by wrong? The answer lies somewhere in the gap between truth and what's allowed to be said. Climbers who were there still refused to talk about the summit. One of them, in a private message, wrote, "It wasn't the storm we feared. It was what we found after it." And that is where the story fractures. Because every version of events from that moment on, every account from her team, every statement from the expedition leaders, contradicts the last. Someone is lying. Maybe all of them are. When the first reports broke, the headlines were brief and hollow: Chinese climber missing on K2. A few paragraphs buried beneath the day's news. No mention of her name beyond the first line, no mention of the silence that followed. But within the mountaineering community, whispers had already started to echo. Whispers that Guan Jing hadn't just vanished, that she'd been erased. The kind of erasure that doesn't come from snow or wind, but from hands that clean up what should never be seen. You have to understand, K2 isn't just a mountain. It's an industry. A billion-dollar machine built on sponsorships, documentaries, and the illusion of triumph. Every death is bad business. Every question is a liability. The truth doesn't survive long up there, it gets buried under press releases and polite condolences. But Guan's story refused to stay quiet. Something about it clawed its way through the cracks. After the official investigation began, climbers were asked for statements. Most complied, with short, rehearsed answers that all sounded the same. But one Sherpa broke pattern. He said Guan was seen arguing with her team leader 2 nights before her final ascent. The reason? Oxygen. She believed her tanks had been tampered with. She said the levels didn't match. He told her she was imagining things. But when rescuers recovered her spare tank weeks later, its valve was half open, leaking slowly into the air. Empty by design. Who opened it, and why, was never answered. The same Sherpa later left the expedition and disappeared into Nepal's Khumbu Valley. When a journalist tracked him down months later, he refused to speak on camera, but off record, he whispered, she saw something. Something that made her afraid. When asked what it was, he said, not the mountain. People. Then he walked away. That's where the trail fractures into conspiracy. Some believe Guan stumbled upon illegal high-altitude trafficking, climbers and companies exchanging summit permits, falsifying records, even covering up deaths to protect sponsors. Others claim she found evidence of a body, one not supposed to be there. A climber who died years before but was listed as alive to maintain an expedition success record. The evidence? A glove she found, stitched with a name that didn't belong to anyone on her team. A name tied to a previous expedition, long since declared safe. She photographed it. That photo never surfaced. Emails between team organizers later revealed deleted attachments from Guan's satellite logs, missing time stamps, scrambled coordinates. The company blamed data corruption. But forensic analysts found manual edits. The kind of edits made by someone trying to erase a trail. And yet, the deeper you dig, the stranger it gets. A mountaineering blogger in Islamabad published a short article claiming to have received a drive containing Guan's final climb data. The post vanished hours later. His account was deleted. He hasn't posted since. It's as if every piece of Guan's truth was being scrubbed in real time. But why? There's a moment in one of the leaked radio logs that still haunts investigators. Just hours before she disappeared, Guan's voice crackles over the wind, "Something's wrong. They're not who they said they are." Seconds later, her transmission cuts. That sentence alone was enough to shatter the official narrative. Not who they said they are. Who was she talking about? Her teammates? The guides? Someone else? When survivors of the expedition were interviewed again months later, they denied ever hearing that transmission. But the timestamp exists. It's logged between two confirmed signals from other climbers, meaning it happened. They lied. And that's when the story starts to rot. One climber, under anonymity, described seeing lights on the ridge that night, small, steady, unnatural. He thought they were headlamps. But when he radioed the coordinates to base camp, the operator said there were no other teams on that route. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe another group. Maybe reflection. But reflection doesn't move against the wind. Another said he woke up to find his rope line cut, not snapped, but sliced clean. He thought it was the storm, until he found the ends burned, melted like plastic. And then there's the body they did find, weeks later, half buried in ice. Female, matching Guan's size, but missing her harness, missing her ID tags, and missing her face. No one ever confirmed if it was her. They said the altitude made DNA recovery impossible. Convenient. But something else was found near that body, a piece of cloth, shredded, red with frost, with 4 words stitched on it, "The mountain remembers everything." It wasn't part of any known climbing gear. Some say Guan carried it herself, a personal token, a warning. Others believe it was left for her. When the journalist who first reported on Guan's disappearance tried to follow up, he received a cease and desist letter from the expedition's parent company. He ignored it. 3 days later, his website was hacked. Every article about K2 wiped clean. No trace left behind. Still think it was just a storm. You see, the higher you climb, the fewer rules apply. What happens above 8,000 meters stays there, because no one can verify anything. It's a place beyond law, beyond witnesses. Perfect for secrets. And maybe that's why so many people want Guan Jing forgotten. Because she might have carried something down that mountain that wasn't meant to come back. There's a photograph that surfaced briefly before being pulled offline, a blurry image of the summit ridge, snow whipping sideways. Behind the main group, a faint outline of a person kneeling in the snow, facing the opposite direction. Her red jacket glows against the white. No one knows who took it. No one has claimed it. But the metadata matches the day Guan vanished. The deeper investigators looked, the less the story held together. Records were missing. GPS data overwritten. Witness statements retracted. On paper, it was an accident. But the mountain doesn't write paperwork, people do. And people lie. In the official timeline, Guan Jing died sometime before dawn. But the coordinates from a rescue drone suggest otherwise. 3 hours later, the drone picked up a heat signature, a single dot moving slowly downhill. Then, abruptly, it stopped. The temperature reading dropped to 0. The footage was classified within 24 hours. Her family never saw it. Her brother begged the company for answers, sent dozens of emails that went unanswered. He posted one last message before his account disappeared: "They told us not to ask." Not to ask. That phrase keeps appearing, different languages, different climbers. When one of the Sherpas was finally interviewed by an independent filmmaker, he hesitated, looked past the camera, and whispered, "She found the wrong tent." Then he refused to say more. The wrong tent. Whose tent was it? What was inside? Pieces started to emerge from the edges, fragments the official story left behind. An insurance report filed before the climb, naming a beneficiary who wasn't family. A sponsor logo removed from all press releases. A summit certificate with an incorrect date. Small cracks, but together, they form a map. And that map points to something larger than one disappearance. You see, on mountains like K2, every expedition carries more than climbers, it carries investors, reputations, whole nations' pride. One failure can unravel years of deals. That's why deaths get rewritten as lost communications. That's why Guan's voice was silenced. But silence is never perfect. Weeks later, a porter found a memory card wedged in ice near the bottleneck. Most of the files were corrupt. One survived. The clip is only 8 seconds long, shot in darkness, snow whipping across the lens. You hear breathing, labored, scared. Then, faintly, her voice, "They left me." A pause. But I'm not alone. The audio cuts there. The porter who found it refused to keep the card. He said the sound of her breathing never stopped when he played it back, it just kept looping, like the mountain itself was breathing through her. The card was turned over to authorities and vanished into evidence. It has never been released. Some climbers say the story should end there. That she's gone, that the rest is imagination. But imagination doesn't explain missing data, deleted footage, or why every member of her team refuses to climb again. One of them reportedly told a friend, "We brought something down that wasn't ours." He wouldn't say what. It's tempting to believe it's superstition, mountains breed myths. But the human mind doesn't invent the same details over and over across continents. Something happened above Camp 4, and everyone who was there is carrying it like a buried scream. And maybe that's the point. The truth of Guan Jing isn't just about what happened to her body, it's about what was done to her story. Her climb became a mirror reflecting everything ugly about the pursuit of glory, the hunger for summits, the blindness to consequence, the willingness to bury the inconvenient. People still ask why she went. Why anyone would risk their life on a mountain that kills without remorse. But maybe Guan went not to conquer it, but to see what the mountain was hiding. Maybe she found it. Maybe that's why she never came down. If you listen closely to the archived radio frequencies from that night, buried under static, there's a distortion, almost a whisper, that repeats in Mandarin, too faint to translate completely. Engineers who analyzed it say it's just interference. But one translator caught 2 words. Still here. Still here. Not gone. Not forgotten. Still here. K2 doesn't keep secrets, it buries them. But buried things have a way of resurfacing when the ice melts. And it's melting faster every year. Maybe someday, someone will find what she left behind. Maybe they'll finally tell us what she saw. Or maybe, like every truth on that mountain, it'll disappear again beneath the next storm. So remember her name. Guan Jing. Not as a ghost, not as a victim, but as a warning. Because the mountain's silence isn't natural, it's enforced. And when people say, "Don't ask," what they really mean is, "Don't look too closely." But you're still here. And that means you already have. The mountain is quiet now. The storm has passed, the camps are empty, and the air that once carried screams has gone still. But the silence isn't peace, it's the weight of everything left unsaid. The path Guan Jing took has already been reclaimed by ice. Her footprints, her rope lines, her oxygen tanks, swallowed whole. The mountain forgets fast. People forget faster. But something in her story resists that forgetting. It lingers in the static of her last call, in the frostbite scars of those who came back, in the hollow spaces between their words. Every climber says they climb to feel alive, but the truth is darker. They climb to escape the weight of being human, to trade the noise of the world for the clean brutality of silence. Guan wasn't chasing fame. She was chasing truth. She wanted to see if she could stand in the place where earth ends and the sky begins, where the air itself tells you to turn back. And she made it. Maybe not to the summit, but to the edge. And on that edge, she found something no one wanted to see. When you stare long enough into a mountain like K2, it stares back. It shows you what you've buried, fear, guilt, ambition. It reflects the parts of humanity that can't survive in daylight. Maybe that's why people pretend not to hear the whispers that come down from the summit. Because the mountain doesn't lie, it reveals. And Guan Jing's revelation was too much for those around her. That's what the evidence suggests. She saw something that made the myth crack. Something that made the perfect story of conquest fall apart. Something that made her expendable. But here's what they didn't expect, that the silence would speak louder than any press release. That her absence would become the loudest thing about K2. That her name, quiet, uncelebrated, unendorsed, would haunt everyone who still climbs that ridge. Because now, every gust of wind up there sounds like her breath returning. Every flicker of snowlight looks like her moving just beyond reach. For some, she's a ghost. For others, a reminder that the mountain always takes more than it gives. For us, for those who listen, she's proof that truth doesn't die just because it's buried. It waits. And that's why this story matters. Because every time someone says, she's gone, what they're really saying is, we stopped looking. Guan Jing isn't gone. Not while her story still has breath. Not while the mountain still echoes with the sound of her name. Listen closely enough, and you can almost hear it in the wind. Guan Jing. That's not legend. That's memory refusing to fade. And when the next climber steps onto that ridge, maybe they'll feel her presence, an invisible weight at their shoulder. A question left unanswered. A truth not yet told. We tell these stories because the mountain won't. Because those who vanished deserve to be remembered as more than cautionary tales. So when you look at K2, don't see beauty. Because every disappearance deserves a voice that keeps asking cost. See the human bones under the snow. See the dreams that froze before sunrise. And if you ever hear someone say, it's just a story, tell them no, this is a wound disguised as a mountain. For Guan Jing. For every name the mountain took and every truth it tried to bury. Because K2 doesn't keep secrets forever, it only waits for someone brave enough to dig them back out.